There are many stands who have been introduced within Jojo. Some can solo the entire universe, others can be super helpful in information gathering. However, there exist stands that have the capacity to wipe out all life on Earth if they really tried. I call these Extinction level stands, and their unique abilities give them potential to be world-ending calamities. Now, to be an Extinction level stand doesn't mean you're one of the most powerful. It just means your stand abilities are uniquely tailored for the art of mass destruction when used in a certain way. Abilities that can take out large groups of people in mere seconds. So I've thought of 12 stands that fit this category of Extinction level, so let me briefly explain every one of them, and how their abilities put them in such a tier. The Wonder of You is the physical embodiment of calamity, the negative aspect of the world's logic and reason, which ties every aspect of existence together, which in a way makes Wonder of You a multi-dimensional entity. Since Wonder of You controls logic, that means every aspect of the world will protect Toru and his stand, whether it's a broken piece of a plane, rain that can pierce through flesh, or an object that was meant to cure sicknesses. No matter how insignificant an object or person is, they can be used as a powerful weapon. So basically, Wonder of You is like the Final Destination movies, if they took the form of a person. So how does this power of a calamity result in the extinction of humanity? Well, let's think back to how Wonder of You's power is activated. When an individual decides to pursue Toru or his stand, calamity will begin. Pursuit takes on a whole bunch of meanings, but it's mostly related to the idea of one or multiple people attempting to attack Toru or simply getting in the way of his plans. The more one tries to pursue, the more frequent and powerful the calamities get. If Toru intended to wipe humanity off the map, all he'd have to do is put himself in the eyes of international intelligence agencies like the FBI, which wouldn't be too difficult, since he already ran an international crime syndicate of sorts. Calamity will activate against all parties investigating him, thereby wiping them all off the map. These mysterious and coincidental deaths will definitely be noticed, and foul play will be hypothesized, skyrocketing Toru to the top of the world's most wanted list. And it's more than likely that Toru would be publicized in news organizations around the world. Many journalists, social media groups, forums, and even the odd couple people will be heavily invested in tracking down Toru's identity, either for the sake of justice or clout. Anyways, with this many people pursuing Toru, calamity will once again activate and purge them all from the earth. Maybe Wonder of You would deem it necessary to activate one or more massive calamities to ensure Toru's safety. Killer Queen is already pretty deadly on its own, with its ability to place invisible bombs. However, Bites the Dust puts this stand in the territory of a world-ending calamity. Bites the Dust functions in a similar manner to Wonder of You. Anyone who attempts to learn or investigate Kira's identity, specifically by using someone Killer Queen has attached itself to, will activate Bites the Dust, and once the stand appears, there's pretty much nothing you can do to defend against it. Now, it's unknown the limits in which Kira can use Bites the Dust, but stay with me here. What if Kira were to somehow attach Bites the Dust onto the internet itself, therefore making it impossible to use it to look for him? Let's say multiple law enforcement agencies, intelligence agencies, and a ton of individuals from the internet attempt to use said internet to investigate Kira's identity. That would automatically fit all the right conditions for Bites the Dust to activate, and everyone who was investigating him at the same time would soon explode. Those who witness this or even hear about it would be suspicious of the circumstances and continue to investigate Kira's identity even further. Those who make YouTube videos on the topic could receive hundreds of thousands to millions of views, exposing new people to Kira's existence and resulting in more people looking into him. And as we all know, this only results in Bites the Dust having new victims to add to its collection. It's unknown how many casualties will result from this, but will likely reach the realm of thousands at the very minimum. Technology may be the single greatest thing humanity has discovered ever since fire in the wheel. Technology gives us access to a treasure trove of information. Technology has improved our day-to-day lives, and some technology outright steals jobs. However, what if there was a stand that could hack into and control this technology? A stand in which, if it was in the wrong hands, could collapse society as we know it. Paisley Park is one such stand, with control over the world's digital foundations. There are many ways Paisley Park can bring on the downfall of humanity. The most basic would be to shut off power to multiple cities and buildings. Important places who need that power to properly run cities, power plants, hospitals, etc. would panic as there no longer exists any practical ways for them to function. Paisley Park can hack into millions of bank accounts and steal billions of dollars from the world's inhabitants, causing hysteria. Even the government's money can be taken, halting their funding and thus ability to fix such an economic crisis. Top secret government documents, private citizen information, your internet browser history. Paisley Park could take it all and leak it to whoever it wants. You may be wondering how any of this makes Paisley Park an extinction level stand. Well, remember Skynet? An evil AI that hacked into nukes and brought upon the destruction of humanity? Well, with how easily Paisley Park can hack into things, its ability to accomplish a similar feat would honestly be a cakewalk. Let's be glad Paisley Park doesn't exist, because I definitely would have used them to become the #1 most subscribed Jojo YouTuber. There are a large degree of natural disasters in our world, from tornadoes to tsunamis to massive hurricanes. Each natural disaster is a calamity on its own, so that's why the prospects of a stand having the ability to control said weather makes it one of the most dangerous in the wrong hands. Weather reports can create a number of dangerous natural disasters in a certain area, like an F5 tornado, which will destroy everything in its path. Hell, weather report can rain down poison frogs on a city or town and call it a day. But even after all this, weather report still has another ability that can make society look like a distant dream. The snails created by heavy weather in a way function like a pandemic. Anyone who touches the snails or rainbows will begin transforming. Those who don't will be surrounded by hundreds or even thousands of other snails. The snails reproduce hundreds of offspring at an alarming rate, and can guess how easily these snails can overwhelm an area. If left unchecked, the snails of heavy weather have infinite potential to spread, and eventually, they make their way all across continents. Each of the millions of snails produced will go on to create even more, and at that point, it's likely that 50% of humanity will be converted within the first 6 months. The world over heaven has many reasons why it made it onto this list. The first reason is because of its infinite time stop ability. Unlike its counterparts from the original series, the world over heaven has no set limit how long it can stop time for, and with it being an undefendable power, it wouldn't take long for Dio to dispatch every human on Earth without question. However, the world over heaven's other power can pull this off with a single touch, literally. You see, anything the stand touches with his hands can have their reality rewritten. He can make it so you were never born. He can take away stand abilities. He can erase concepts from his respective world. With that said, what's stopping him from wiping the human race from the world's history? What's stopping him from taking control of the world's leaders and forcing a nuclear war to abruptly begin? Hell, nothing's saying Dio can't just erase the Earth itself from the interstellar map, leaving no trace that this planet ever existed. Bohemian Rhapsody may be the third most powerful stand in Stone Ocean, besides Weather Report and Made in Heaven. The stand has one simple ability. It can bring fictional characters of all kinds to life. When a certain individual has a favorite character from some kind of fictional work, that character will manifest in the real world. As a result, your soul will be separated from your body. Once that happens, you'll take on the role or fate of said fictional character. So if your favorite character from your favorite story met their demise, you'll go through the same fate. Since the story has already been written and set in stone, it's impossible to escape whatever ending the character was fated to go through, as the world and the fictional characters will bend reality and physics in order to reach a story's conclusion. The stand is implied to have infinite range, and every fictional character you can think of will affect almost everyone on Earth, depending on their preferences. If said character died at the end of their stories, then it's pretty clear what would happen to most of the world's population. The time acceleration affects all non-living things, and as we've seen, even the most harmless of objects can become deadly projectiles. Every car, plane, and boat will begin crashing into each other and exploding all throughout the planet. The structures of buildings and geography would collapse, crushing anyone who's sadly in the way. Fatal health conditions and injuries would kill most people almost instantly. Every natural disaster on Earth, which would take a year to cycle through, would happen in a span of minutes, giving people no time to prepare. Hell, theoretically, if time had stopped accelerating when everyone was in space, everyone would have simply died in the vacuum. The stands within the George Joestar novel are pretty much what happens if you gave power scaling YouTubers the ability to create their own stand. AP, immeasurable speed, immeasurable strength, etc. are all embodied to the most extreme degree in George Joestar, especially in the hands of novel cars. The Aspu Ultimate can grow to the size of skyscrapers, which also means that the missiles it fires go to the size of apartment buildings. The World Ultimate can stop time for upwards of 1 hour. Whitesnake can copy an infinite amount of stand disks. D4C Ultimate can create a number of fake alternate worlds instead of simply traveling through dimensions. There are a variety of other stands that I haven't mentioned, but most within the Jojo Star novel definitely have the capacity to end life on Earth. When one lowers their current altitude or exists within a low altitude, a disgusting green mold will begin spreading on that part of the body and proceeds to destroy their flesh. The mold has a high rate of spreading, and in certain cases, those who don't raise their altitude in time are immediately disintegrated. This ability has massive range and has been shown to have the potential to wipe out an entire city worth of people. If used properly and in a certain way, the stand can maybe wipe out a country's population. In a way, purple haze has a similar effect to green tea. It releases a deadly gas into the air, which contains a virus. Once this virus makes contact with a living organism, they begin melting into a puddle. This toxic gas can spread extremely quickly, especially with the help of wind, and those who aren't properly protected or indoors may have their fate sealed. Once Silver Chariot Requiem's ability activates, anyone within a several block radius will have their soul swapped with the closest living thing to them. An immediate problem is that the living things you can be swapped with can range from another human of all ages, an insect, another animal, or hell, even a microorganism. Obviously, when a baby takes control of someone driving a vehicle, that's not exactly gonna end well, and this body swapping can cause a ton of chaos. Silver Chariot Requiem can control souls, and souls are what gives the body its logic. Since Chariot Requiem can't properly control its power, souls within its vicinity begin to mutate as the evolution of all living things becomes distorted. If left unchecked, entire populations of people will transform into mutated monsters without thought. With Chariot Requiem's massive range and its aimless journey, it wouldn't take long until everything on Earth is swapped and mutated. Survivor massively increases the strength and aggression of those it hits. The effects of the stand oftentimes isn't noticed, and those who are influenced will tear each other apart without thinking. With Survivor's capacity to casually cause mass murder, it would create riots all throughout vast areas as friends, lovers, and governments kill each other. Hell, it's not far-fetched to say that those who have control over weapons of mass destruction would intentionally activate them to destroy their enemies, inciting a full-scale nuclear war. After all, those affected by Survivor no longer have any rational thought. They use any weapons at their disposal, even those that can bring about the end of man.